TJ the Wheel Joe coming at you live. It is, I don't even know what it is. Is it Tuesday? What are we, Wednesday? Wednesday. Wednesday. Wow, humpback day already. September the 25th, 2024 AD. Wow. Tempest Fusion. Time flies in Latin. Let's get into it, guys. We're going to do quote of the day. We're going to do a super quick portfolio update. And then we're going to feature a teaching segment. What does total investing value really means? It comes from a comment that somebody made on one of on the live that I did on Monday. Wasn't able to go live yesterday. Probably not going to be going live anymore on Tuesdays because it's going to be kind of like my regroup day. You know, I'm trying to knock out a lot of FaceTimes on Tuesdays. I'm trying to knock out a lot of FaceTimes on Thursdays. Those are kind of like the days that I'm really trying to earmark for FaceTimes. Wednesdays, I go live early, I go live late with Wheelers. So I'm thinking Tuesdays and Thursdays, eventually I'm going to scale out of doing anything live on YouTube on those days, unless I make a guest appearance on another channel or something. So I could really dedicate the time and effort necessary to give the value that people are paying me for via the memberships. So anyway, let's get into it. We're going to do quote of the day time. So it is going to be around the 2-minute mark by the time I get it all situated over there. 02. We'll go quote of the day. And it's a gentleman that came out on $1 Million Listing New York. And he also has a series called Owning Manhattan. It's a Ryan Serhant. Every day you have 1,440 minutes. Minutes are your dollars. Invest your time wisely. That's the quote of the day. Invest your time wisely. Guys, we all start with the same amount of currency every single day. Everybody has the same amount of seconds, the same amount of minutes, the same amount of hours, the same amount of days in a week and a month and a year, right? We all have the same amount of time on a daily basis. As long as you're on this earth, we all have the exact same amount of time. It's what you do during that time that really counts. Why is it that some people act like they're always so busy and they can't get shit done, but they're out there getting their hair, they're getting their nails done, they're running a bunch of errands that aren't really making them any money? So I think at the end of the day, it comes down to priorities. We all prioritize what's important to us. So I don't think that there's such a thing as I'm too busy, because it's the busiest people that get the most things done on a daily basis. It's just, I think they just lack for motivation. You know what I mean? In my opinion. So anyway, we have 1,440 minutes. I appreciate you spending a few of those minutes with me 3 to 5 days a week. It means the world to me. Without you guys, I wouldn't have a channel. That's just a reality of it. So that's quote of the day. We're going to do a super quick portfolio update. I'm talking about quickity quick, like 5 to 10 minute variety. So we'll go 4-minute mark for portfolio update on the timestamp. And we'll go from there. So let me see if I can find the portfolio. Here we go. So the portfolio is a little down today, kind of flat for the most part. The only thing that I did, guys, is I went ahead and I locked in a win on a couple of positions. So I had these Riot Cash-Secured puts expiring Friday at 7:50, and it was at about 77, 78%. I had rolled them out last week, and you'll see here that we had gotten 3,900 on the roll. So I essentially just gave the 3,900 back, locked in a pretty substantial win there. And I had been selling these puts, these were 750 puts. So I'd been in this thing for a little while. So you'll see there, 100 contracts got 56.50 there. Not sure if I can see any more of them. Here we go. Got 200 contracts, got 38 cents there. So locked in about a $13,000, $14,000 win, freed up a bunch of collateral. The other one that I closed out was cash secured puts on Snowflake, because I wonder why it's not. I don't know what's going on here. No, there we go. Snowflake. That's the ticker, right? So we had some cash secured puts that we had been babysitting for a little while. on Snowflake. And it's not a very high conviction stock. So on June the 14th, we sold 10 contracts, got 3,400. We're able to close those out. So we locked in a nice little win there. But then on August 21st, visited, this is the deal that we're doing with Amit on his channel. So we got 1,200, then we got 681. So we got about 1,881 there, and we just gave back 1,075. So we locked in a little win there, and we're out of Snowflake. It's a dog with fleas. We don't want to be in it. We're very fortunate that we made a little bit of money there. So that is the only thing that I've done with the portfolio today. Yesterday, though, there was a big noteworthy event on Tesla. I wanted to make sure that I'm long and strong on Tesla. I want to give these shares room to room to run. So I rolled the $225 cover calls expiring in January, and I kicked the can down the road an entire year because I'm trying to raise cash. And I got $40,800 for that. So I essentially manufactured a dividend, an annual dividend, get paid one time. They'll go from 225 to 280. So now I got a lot more breathing room. If Tesla wants to run wild, let it run wild. I don't give a shit if it goes to $350, guys. Why? Because 280 is a lot higher than 225. And then I also have the long calls that are protecting me. So we look at the position in its entirety. We're doing well on the shares. Now we got plenty of room on the cover calls for now. And then even if these cover calls run wild, well, I've got the leaps that will print, and then I'll just exercise those leaps, and then I'll manage the cover calls for the next 3 to 5 to 10 years. And that's where I like to play. That's where I want to be. It works for me. Not telling you that this is what you should do. I'm just chronicling it the way that I do it. And it works for me. I sleep well at night. It's an easy position to navigate now. I don't have to mess with it. On any pullbacks, I can consider selling cash secured puts or put credit spreads or something like that on Tesla. But for now, I'm just going to be watching the stock just like you guys, letting time run off the clock. Hopefully these cover calls stay manageable, June of next year, July of next year. Maybe I'm looking at rolling them to January of 2027 and putting 330, 340, 350 bucks. And that's the way that I want to play Tesla. And I want to keep following it up for the next 3, 5, 7 to 10 years. These are going to print right here. I'm going to exercise these. It's going to be awesome. These have already printed up 130%. I expect to be up probably 250% when I exercise these. So I have a lot of built-in intrinsic value there. And it's going to be awesome. So that is how I'm able to stay very aggressive with cover calls, is because I have the long calls to protect myself. So now let me check in with you guys. So we'll do a real quick check in with you guys on the comments, and then we're going to get into the teaching segment. What's going on, Daniel? What's going on, Greek? What is going on, Doug? What is going on, Samuel? What is going on, G-Man? Hello and welcome, teachers. Just want to say hello. I need to get back to work. Have a good day. You too. What's going on, Mark? I hope you can join us tonight on Wheelers. All things Bitcoin and the miners tonight. Thank you, TJ, for helping us. I'd be lost without your education. Greatly appreciate you. You're welcome. What's going on, Cosmo? Mayteen just started trading. I just wanted to follow everything you do. How much to start? Right on. Morning, NVIDIA helping me out today. Right on, Shamu. That's what's going on. What's going on, Midwest? What's going on, Snowball Hustle? Good morning. What's going on, Amir? How are you? What's going on, Bill White? Dang, only 52 watching. People really don't like money. It's all good, man. Give them time. We're not for everybody. We're not for everybody. Not everybody wants to make money. A lot of people just want to talk about it. There's a big difference there, guys. There's a real big difference. There's a lot of people that want to get real excited about making money, but there's not a lot of people that actually want to implement the strategy and make a shitload of money. Rob H, with Tesla cover call roll, what was the percentage return compared to the capital locked up? Would be helpful to hear the percentages and not just the dollar amount. So let's just do the math real quick. It's real simple, right? So essentially, you got to look at the amount of the shares, right? So the shares, there's about 400 grand tied up on the shares. So if you go over here to the shares, it's 2,500 at $200. So you figured $640,000 position minus 148. So it's about a $500,000 investment. And I picked up $40,000. So essentially about 9% or so for the year. So normally I would shoot to get a lot more, but because Tesla is a very volatile stock, it hasn't worked out very well for me trying to wheel it weekly or monthly. And it's something I don't want to do. I just don't want to babysit. So it wasn't really about that for me. It was about, hey, I want to be able to qualify for the capital appreciation because I think that Tesla will be over $280. So I look at where it was yesterday. It was about 250 whenever I did it. So that's $30 of capital appreciation. That has to get factored into the equation as well. So $30 times not just 2,500, but 4,000 shares, because I have to take into account that at some point I'm going to own these shares as well. So now that's 4,000 times $30. That's an additional $120,000 that I now position myself to qualify for. So that's why whenever you want to do the math, you got to do the entire math. This isn't just solving for X. You got to solve for X, Y, and Z. So that is when I looked at it. I'm like, holy shit, I qualify for another 120,000 in capital appreciation. I don't have to do anything. You're going to pay me 40 up front. That's like 160 on 500. Sign me up. Where do I sign? So that was the way that I was looking at it. Hopefully that helps you guys out. Where are we at here? Good morning, everybody. Rocket Labs is running this morning. Right on. Want that on the shirt. TJ, will you please talk about how you select Delta depending on situations like when you don't use the stock versus generate income, etc. Don't mind like stocks being called or signed when you do calls on stocks you want for long term. Do you sell far out and high? I'm trying to figure out how accumulating the wins, if that makes sense. We'll try to get to all of those. What I want to do today is I want to do a teaching segment that's going to help you guys. It's going to really, really, really help you guys, because it wasn't until I totally understood this, I was a little bit lost, because I'd see this number on the screen and I'm like, well, what does that number really mean? So I'm trying to pull up this spreadsheet that I'd already done this on. I call it Portfolio Snapshot to help you guys understand. So what does this number really mean? What does it mean? In the chat, what does that number mean? When you see an investing number, what does it mean? What does it mean? How do they get to that number? I'm going to tell y'all what it means. It's your total liquidation value. If you want to, when you're selling options, like if you don't have any options, it's real simple. It's what your stocks are worth, right? That's it. But whenever you're selling options, that value is taken into account what you paid for the shares versus what the shares are worth, how you stand with your options. So it's giving you the equity value of the portfolio, your total liquidation value. And this goes back to a question that I got, or a comment that I got. This is where this teaching segment is coming into play. And I got to go over here and look to see when do we start this teaching segment. Let's just call it the 11-minute mark. I don't know. Teaching segment. So I'm going to go try to find this video or this comment. I'm going to try to go find this comment right here. This comment. And it says, how do you reconcile mentally that your portfolio amount includes stock that has covered calls against it for a limit to the upside, meaning total portfolio value isn't accurate? And then I went off and said, total portfolio is accurate. You have a lot to learn, grasshopper. Covered calls being underwater goes away if stocks were to get called away. Pro tip, the broker is smarter than we are. LOL. So that is what encouraged this teaching segment, is I want to make sure that you guys understand how this all happens, because you should know how it all happens. So we're going to do some math. I've already done most of this math on this portfolio because I keep track of it on a spreadsheet called portfolio snapshot. So this is a spreadsheet that I haven't even showed Bill White. This is just something that I do, and I literally have all the credits and all the debits, all the credits and all the debits of the portfolio. Y'all can see there's a lot more credits and debits. And I go all the way to 500, and this covers me through the end of August, I think. So every month I do this. So I'm gonna have to move this line down to probably like 550. At the end of the year, it might be at 600. Who knows? So I'll have to move all these calculations. So premiums collected is 2,802,000. Buybacks is 2,338. But then the leaps cost. So these leaps cost goes against the buybacks. And then I have the leaps values, and then I got an unrealized P&L on the leaps. I've got the share cost, the share market value, and I've got an unrealized P&L on the shares. So if you go back over here, it tells you here the leaps cost. This is all the leaps cost. There's a couple of leaps that aren't on here. I don't think I've updated when I bought the PayPal, because that's something that happened in September. Because I bought some leaps recently on PayPal, and I bought some more leaps on SoFi. So that is not on here yet. And then this is the total cost of the shares. And this is the current value of those shares. So there's an unrealized P&L of those shares right there. So that kind of gives you a snapshot. So just looking at it real quickly, you got a share value of 6.7, and you got an unrealized P&L on the leaps. If I can go down here to 500, of about 200. So you're already approaching the $7 million mark. So again, there's leaps that were recently purchased that are not on there. So the value of those leaps is probably another $75,000 to $100,000. The shares have run a little bit since the last time I did this update. So it makes sense that if I just eyeball this, I should be at about 7.1, something like that. So now we're going to go to the actual portfolio again, and I want y'all to help me do some math. The way that you do this is really easy. You just go here, you put it on equity. You put everything on equity. Everything on equity. Everything on equity. And you just start eyeballing it. So you add all the money over here, the 1.1, the 800, the 782, the 757, the 638, the 472, the 397, the 288, the 132, the 113, etc. This is all that the spreadsheet already did. So I'm gonna put it here. If y'all want to screenshot it, because we're gonna waste this kind of time right now. I'm gonna try to keep these brief because I got a hard stop today at 11:55 because I got FaceTimes after that. So y'all can screenshot this to verify the math. So you're gonna go there. You can screenshot right there. You can screenshot right there. That's going to give you a number that's probably about 6.8, 6.9, which is what the spreadsheet said. And then here, this is all of the money that I got to give back. This is all of the money that I got to give back. If I want to take my ball and go home, I want to close out all the options. So I got to give back $1,000 on American Airlines, got to give back $1,000 on Hood, $640 on that NVIDIA, 6,000 on the Riot covered calls, 22,000 on Tesla, TSLL, another 14,000, 4,000, 1,000, 9,000, etc., etc., etc. But then over here, you're going to see some positives because the leaps have a positive value because you can sell those for money, right? So you saw all of these negatives. So I'm going to let it to where y'all can screenshot this because y'all are some Debbie doubters over there. Not Debbie doubters, Debbie doubters, some doubting Thomases. So I'm going to do it so y'all can screenshot right there. So I would screenshot right there. I'd go over here and I'd screenshot right there. And I'd screenshot right there. And you're going to start seeing that eventually these positives, like the $193,000 in Enphase, the 114 in NEO, this 324,000 on PayPal, the 140.54 on SoFi, the 52, the 73, And here's the covered call that I'm underwater on. I got to give back. I'm not underwater on it now because it's at 280, but I'm still underwater because what? The roll is in there and I've lost money on those rolls. Probably right now about in the neighborhood of 75,000 to 100,000, give or take. But then look at all the money on the leaps. There's a lot of money on the leaps. So if you do all the math there, it's going to be positive, probably about 300-400 grand. So if you add the value of all the shares, plus you add the credit, subtract the debits, you're going to have a positive number here because just eyeballing it, you can see that the positive numbers are much bigger. 324 grand. Think about it. 154 grand. Think about it. 52, 73. This one's big, but we got a bigger one on the positive side. Then we got the 190, the 87. It's all bigger than these smaller numbers over here. So that is how you get to the 7.1. So it's an accurate number. Now, are you in the hole on some shares if are underwater on some covered calls? Yes, but this is already taking all of that into account. It's taking all of it into account. So hopefully that helps you guys out. Appreciate the 233 people that have clicked the link on X. Appreciate the 93 people that are rocking with me live here on YouTube, 95 now. Appreciate you guys. Now I'm going to go ahead and update this over here. And I'm going to put this at the 22-minute mark. And we're going to go live Q&A. Live Q&A for the, moving forward. So anyway, give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense to you guys. So where are we at? I want that on a t-shirt. I'm not sure what that was reference to. So here we go. Rumi is saying, will you please talk about how do you select delta depending on the situations, like when you don't want to lose a stock versus when you just want to generate income? Usually if I'm long a position, Rumi, I never want to lose the stock. I'm long stocks. I sell covered calls against stocks that I'm long on. Why? Because if I need to babysit that covered call for the next 3 to 5 years, it's no big deal. I didn't plan on selling the stock anyway. So I don't mind chasing it from behind, kind of like Palantir. When I'm not long a stock, oftentimes I sell very aggressive deltas, like 40 deltas, pretty much right at the money, because I want the shares to get called away so that I can get back into cash. If I think that it's a real good deal on a cash secured put, I'm going to sell a very aggressive delta, very aggressive cash secured put, pretty much at the money. Those are typically about 40, 45 deltas. If I think that it's a good deal, but I think that there's still a lot of downward pressure on the stock, then I'm going to pick more like a 20 to 30 delta on cash secured puts. So I can get pretty good premiums, but also position myself to get a better deal where the shares get signed, they get put on. But on covered calls, I typically try to roll unless I'm kind of indifferent about it. Like I don't mind the shares get called away. And I'm going to give you some examples. So let's talk about some covered calls that I don't give a shit about. So now I'm going to put this on total return. Give me a thumbs up on the chat if that made sense to you guys, like how we get to the investing value. Give me some more thumbs up there to make sure that made sense. But now we'll go through it again. So let me tell you about some shares that I don't care about as much as y'all think that I should or whatever. I don't care about American Airlines. I don't care about Robinhood. And I don't care about NVIDIA. Because I haven't been in the positions long enough to give a shit, truth be told. And you would know that I cared because if I cared, they'd be over here in these values. If they're under these values right here, I promise you, I don't care. Like right here, don't really give a shit. Right here, give a shit a lot. Here, care a lot. Here, don't care. So if I wanted to stop jacking with TSLL, it doesn't matter because I'm already playing with Tesla. Hood, I just look at it. Where am I at with Hood? Where am I at with it? It's positive all the way around. I got the shares for sale at 23. I got a commitment to buy more shares at 21. I don't give a shit. if I'm able to stay in this position and ride it out for another year and eventually sell these shares at 32 or 42, that's great. If I'm not able to, I don't really give a shit. I haven't invested very much time, effort, due diligence in Robinhood, the stock. I'm more bullish on Robinhood, the platform, than I am Robinhood, the stock. Do I think that the stock's going to do some big things? Maybe. It's already done some big things. Or has it? Because Max said it's still down 40%. There's a lot of people bag holding this shit from day one, right? Kathy Wood was pumping it all crazy over here. And look at it. All it's done is gone sideways. And then it finally went on a little bit of run. Very, very Palantir. Very, very Palantir. Very, very Palantir type of a Max chart. Look at it. Went all crazy. And then it went sideways, not as long, and then now it's going back up. So a nice little U-shaped recovery, but it took 3 years. And then I look at like SoFi. SoFi went up all crazy initially when everybody was an expert back in the day. And that's, a triple top there. And then went down, and it's been pretty much been sideways ever since. And it's like, yes, no, maybe so. Yes, no, maybe so. So we're kind of hoping for that same U-shaped recovery. That's going to take a very similar time frame as Robinhood, as Palantir. That's kind of what we're all hoping for in SoFi. All of these damn stocks look the same to me. So that's why I don't get that worried about something like Robinhood, because I'm like, dude, I've already seen that movie play out. I saw it play out real good with Palantir. It hasn't played out so well with SoFi. Luckily, I got in it when it was pretty decent. It would have been better if I'd have gotten into the $8, $9, $10 range. But I did it. So because I feel like I didn't get like the best entry point, I just feel thankful to be making money right here. Because a lot of times, there's people that are probably underwater on stocks like this. So that's wood that I'm kind of like indifferent about. I don't mind, if that turns into a cash position eventually, I don't give a shit. Same thing with Open Door. I'm like, I've got an entry point of 184. That part's great, but then let's look at it. We got cash collateral, we got puts at 3, we got puts at 350 underwater on those, and then we got cover calls at 3. So I feel like it's going to be okay. That's one that I've considered adding another 100 cash secured puts, probably at like 250. That way I could, try to still have an average under like, right at around 250, because I've got quite a bit of shares at 184. But I got to consider that it looks like we're going to be buying 40,000 shares at a 325 average. Because you got 20,000 shares here at 3, 20,000 shares at 350, so it's a 325 average on 40,000 shares. So I'm like, well, maybe I should try to pick up another 10,000 shares. Maybe I can do some cash secured puts over here at like $2 or $2.50. Something like that, just to try to keep that average under 250 when it's all said and done. But again, it's just a trade. It's not an investment yet, because I don't know if they're really going to be beneficiaries of the interest rate cuts, if the business model is really going to, pan out, etc. Let me put this on total return. Let me put this on total return because it helps me. Then we got BITX, it's one of those things. We're kind of just doing a little strangle on it. If it goes above 32, well, they can keep the shares. If it goes below 24, I have to buy more shares. So it's kind of a nice little sweet spot. Doesn't cause a lot of stress, but it's also one of those that I don't even monitor. The only time I really look at that one is when I go on a Mint's channel on Fridays. And then same thing with CrowdStrike. I feel like we don't have like the best entry point in CrowdStrike. I'm kind of thankful to be making money. And then now it's like, oh, the shares are at 290, and I've got an agreement to sell them at 270. I'm like, well, I've already rolled these a couple of times. Maybe I just lock in a profit here and free up quite a bit of money, getting into cash with a lot of uncertainty looming in the future. Maybe not the worst thing, So I don't get that stressed out about some of these things as you guys might think. Same thing with NVIDIA and American Airlines. On NVIDIA, the first shares we bought were like at 132. Definitely not a good entry point. And now I've got all these shares for sale at 125 with an agreement to buy more shares at 110 or 1018. Could potentially free up a lot more money just for essentially breaking even on the shares or losing 21 cents if these shares were to get called away on Friday. If they don't, well, then maybe I sell another round to cover calls, and maybe now I could put the strike price at 126, 127, and get more premiums and qualify for some upside. And then American Airlines, I'm kind of indifferent about it as well. I like to build the position if I can get better entry point than where it is now, but it'd have to go probably in the nines again or the low tens for me to want to double the position. And not, I don't want to add to it here. I don't mind playing it via covered calls to the upside. If it'll give that to me, these expire. If not, well, then I could just build a real big cash position. Like I'm just looking at the way the portfolio is, and I'm like, there's about $300,000 there that I could turn into cash, and I'd be a lot more comfortable selling cash secured puts with that money and stacking up the brokerage cash. The brokerage cash is a little bit light. It's at 1.3. I like to get that one closer to 2. I think the portfolio would be at a much more commanding position. We could do that. So hopefully that helps you guys out a little bit. Let's keep going over here. Let me see if I can get to some of y'all's questions because I got a hard stop at 11:55. Shamu had said something over here. Let me find it. Yes, liquidation value. Correct. Here we go. Don't mind when stocks being called or slang. When you do calls on stocks on a long term, do you sell far out and up? I'm trying to figure out how to keep accumulating the wins, if that makes sense. You got to study the charts a little bit. So I look at the Bollinger Band and I look at the RSI, I look at the moving averages. So if it's on the upper end of the Bollinger Band, if it's a covered call, I try to sell like right there. I try to sell a strike that's outside of the Bollinger Bands, outside of the moving averages. That way you have those as kind of like a resistance level. And, it's real hard for the stocks to like pierce through that. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit. How much do I need to start options? I just started college, man. I have seen people start with as little as $1,000. You just wheel a little $7-10 stock and you're on your way. That number is your total cash plus margin. No, it's your total liquidation value. What's going on, Dex? Total stock. What's going on, Midwest? Yo, holy effing God, that's a lot of credit. Well, what we do here. We sell puts, we sell calls, and we collect a shitload of premium. But we ain't popular. It's okay. It's more fun to be rich. And then you go places nobody knows you. It's really awesome. How dumb am I to have Palantir 35 strikes? I don't know. I have some at 12, so I don't feel dumb. And lost on that trade. It is what it is. Just roll them. I think you'll be fine. You might not even have to roll. Palantir's been struggling to keep this $36, $37 level. I don't think you have anything to worry about right now. Yeah, I think you're fine. You wait another month or two, kick the can down the road 3 to 6 months. You probably have a 40, 42 handle on there. You're fine. Provoking the screenshots. What's going on? Learning the wheel. $5,000 account using JetBlue, Hertz, SoFi, WBD, ChargePoint, and Open. Is it better to have more contracts on other stocks or fewer stocks that I'd say it's better to have higher conviction stocks. I like this here on the bottom. I'd rather do American Airlines, HIT, and SoFi versus all this other stuff that you talked about up here on the top. Morning, TJ. Just hit the milestone cost basis on my Palantir shares is currently negative 18 cents from running the wheel strategy. Thanks for all the tips and info. You're welcome. Good for you. Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate you. What's going on, Pat? Thomas, got Palantir cover calls for January 2040. Feeling uncomfortable? What do you do? Nothing. You're out of the money. Nothing. Relax. I have the same ones. Yeah, agreed. Not at 40, we can roll out and up. No biggie. Daniel knows the game. How long do you think you'll have to manage your Palantir covered calls so they don't get called away? Well, I already managed them. I kicked the can down the road in January of 2026. I think I have 35 and 45 strikes. So I have those $12 strikes, guys. They haven't called those away yet. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, so I have these for January, $30. This is 2026. have 30 of them, and then the bulk of the contracts is 150 of them at 35. I'll deal with them next June. I'll deal with them next June. I'm long Palantir. I ain't trying to sell Palantir, so it doesn't really bother me that much. What else do we got here? Sold them when Palantir was 21. Couldn't even imagine going up so fast. Yeah, it happens, man. It happens. How much would you recommend in cash account to generate $8,000 a month? The wheeling probably about 150 to 200,000, give or take. Just answer my question. I appreciate it makes sense if I'm going to be there for years and I can play calls from behind for years since I don't want to lose them. Thank you. You're welcome. Was it next to my phone too for understanding right now? Appreciate you. Just got on. Let's go. What's going on, Bachata? TJ, would you recommend rolling my $33 1220 cover calls on Palantir to Fred Jones for a small credit or wait a little longer? 33 for 1220. Let me look at it real quick. 33 for 1220. Where's Palantir? $33 for 1220. This guy right here, 33. Yeah, I'm not doing anything. You have a lot of extrinsic value. You got a lot of extrinsic value there. You're talking about $3.74 of intrinsic and about $2 of extrinsic. So if people want to call to have your shares right now, they're going to sacrifice $2 a share in profit for doing so. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think you're okay. You probably have to roll here in a month or so. Where are we at? What's going on, Iceman, Midwest? Jill, how are you? Brendan knows. Short space, I did. Right on. TJ, what's your take on Celsius? Looks tempting around 30. It looks real tempting around 30 for sure. What criteria do you follow for deciding cash puts? You gotta want to own the stock. Gotta want to own the stock. So I have this thing here that I don't show very often, but those are kind of like my little rules for landing on things. Right? I wish they'd take them soon, man. I don't have to mess with them anymore. I spent 2,000 on 5 Palantir calls expiring in January 24. Another worth 11. How can I squeeze some more cash without losing my shares? You could, but I mean, first of all, you don't have any shares; you just have calls. So I'm not sure if you understand that. I mean, you could sell some cover calls against those long calls. Just make sure you don't get in trouble on those, and then now you're kind of like, you know, biting off your nose to spite your face. So just be careful. Just be careful there. Sometimes it's okay to lock in the win, or if you want to exercise those contracts, well, then just wait till about a week before the expiration, and you'll be able to own those shares. Hey, TJ, are you excited about the Bitcoin ETF options approval? I haven't really looked into it too much. I'm hoping that we talk about it a little bit tonight on Wheelers. Midwest, thanks for the heads up. TJ was live. Always missed them. Right on. How do you keep some emergency cash in another savings account, or do you keep all your cash for your brokerage and ready to be deployed to opportunity arises there in the brokerage? What do you think about BITX $12, $20, $20 puts sold? Yeah, easy money. Oh, cool. This morning I saw the interest on my sweep account is already down a little bit. Yeah, I haven't looked at that stuff because I'm using margin, right, to sell puts, so I don't qualify for any of that stuff, unfortunately. Anyway, so that's pretty much all of it, guys. What I was going to do, though, is 1 second. So it's going to do the biblical scripture of the day. So I'm just going to give y'all one that is hot and heavy. This one here, this is, I call it the game over. This is the game over scripture. That if you're not able to buy in to this scripture, you don't even have to waste your time reading anything else, because it's always going to come down to this scripture right here. So let me just put it at the 41-minute mark. I'm just trying to do the little deal, the timestamp. Biblical quote of the day. So here's the scripture. Here's the scripture, guys, right here. And it is John 14:6. And Jesus said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. So I'm going to say it again for the people that are slow in the back of the class, right? You're in the back pew like Midwest that slid in late. So Jesus said, I'm the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. So, guys, that it really just comes down to that. Like, no matter how many motivational speeches you hear about that are all inspired for the Bible, because a lot of quotes are taken out of the Bible. No matter what you read from the Bible, no matter what your buddy tells you, it always is going to come down to accepting that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and nobody comes to the Father except through him. So it's essentially like we all talk about moats on this channel because it's a finance channel. So there's a moat, right? There's like this creek, this body of water that's protecting the castle or whatever. And you have to cross that moat. And you can't swim and you don't know how to fly. So there's a bridge there. You got to like look at like Jesus like extending himself over like a bridge, and you got to use him as the bridge to get to the other side. He's the only way. He's the only way, because you can't earn your way into heaven. You can't do any of that stuff. We're all saved through his amazing grace, and that's just the reality of it. And I remember when I was younger, I didn't want to like get saved, and I didn't want to be baptized because I wasn't ready to stop sinning, because I was like, I had just discovered that like I like girls and all this other stuff that I wasn't really supposed to be doing. So I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this whole racket. It just seems really, really tough. And then Brother Art McGuire and Jason Lucy sat down with me in a little Baptist church in Fremont, Texas. And they're like, if we could do it on our own, we wouldn't need him. You know, we could be perfect on our own. We wouldn't need him. So you have to utilize what Jesus did for us so that you can get to the other side. So I bought the story, hook, line, and sinker. I was 17 years old. Maybe I was a little naive, a little gullible, just a little dumb, and whatever the case may be, but it's the best decision that I ever made. And I certainly have not been perfect since I received salvation in November of 1992. That's when I received salvation. I was a 17-year-old kid. But it's always going to come down to that scripture right there, John 14:6. You know, and the way, the truth, and life, nobody comes to the Father except from me. So you're gonna have to buy into that, man. You're gonna have to buy into that, and you are gonna have to do it. Nobody's gonna be able to do it for you. It's just like I always say, we all push our buttons, we all live with those results. Well, that's one button that you are going to have to push. I already punched my ticket. Am I deserving? Absolutely not. Do I deserve to go to heaven? Absolutely not. I don't. I don't think anybody does. I don't think anybody can earn their way there. You know, not everybody's Mother Teresa. You know what I mean? So anyway, I hope that helps you guys out. I feel like there's always somebody that needs to hear this kind of thing. I got to get rocking and rolling though, guys. I got to run a little errand here at the house, and then I got to do my FaceTimes. I posted the Calendly link in the app or in the YouTube a couple of times. Please use that. please use that to schedule your appointments. There's already like 25 that have been scheduled because, guys, it's like I opened up the gym to you guys and I'm ready to teach and preach. I'm ready via text message, etc. I'm ready for all of these FaceTimes, but I'm not going to be reaching out to you to be scheduling the FaceTimes because then that turns into a clerical job for me or an admin job that I just don't want to do. I don't have time to do that. So I put the hours of the gym that are open, and I'm trying to add more hours as I can free my time. Some days the gym's not going to be open because I have stuff to do. Like we're going to California for the Riot conference in a couple weeks, so I won't be available for those 2 days or so to do the FaceTimes. But please schedule your FaceTimes. But also, I want to make sure that the FaceTimes are about selling cash and care puts. They're not, they're not Dr. Phil psychological sessions and things like that. I want to make sure that we always stay on track. So anyway, guys, I'm going to get rocking and rolling. I appreciate each and every one of you guys who spent a little time with me this morning. I'll get to more of y'all's questions tonight on Wheelers. Tune into Wheelers. We're going to talk all things Bitcoin, all things life, and whatever comes up. It's kind of unscripted, right? So it is what it is. If you want to be a panelist on Wheelers, click the link. We'd love to have you on as a panelist on Wheelers at 8 p.m. Texas time. We'll see you guys then. TJ the Wheel Deal signing off. As always, may your sky stay blue stock screen. Peace out. God bless you guys.